Good evening. It's Wednesday, October 22nd, and you're right, silly rabbit, you're kind of scary. So Nick, for some reason I caused you to think about the Trix rabbit, and you kind of mentioned him in your video, and you mentioned how, such a thing feels like it could only be brought up in the craziness of some dream or somebody who's on drugs, but yeah, that really makes me think, where do some of these commercials come from? Not just commercials, but television shows and books and all, like, really, if you really think about them and just how absurd they would sound if taken at face value. Keep in mind that might be important. If taken at face value, how just absolutely ridiculously insane they are. Like, most fictional works that include like made up species, anthropomorphized. I think it's anthropomorphized creatures. Like, they're just bizarre, and I'm not really sure how we're okay with them sometimes. And then I remember that it's actually really easy to understand why we're okay with them. It all comes back to our old friend metaphor. Like, it's really weird because the human mind doesn't really work in a way that makes a whole lot of sense. Like, if I describe my, really good days being full of pixies and unicorns and rainbows and just butterflies everywhere, just magically making my day fantastic, if it weren't for the fact that we thought in metaphors, that would literally be awful, and somebody would probably lock me up in a nut house. But Nick, unfortunately, that's really the only way we can think. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I could not make it the whole way through a day describing everything literally. In fact, I don't think I could make it through this or any video describing everything literally. There's always those movies, TV episodes where, there's the robots and they're like, oh man, humans gotta be eliminated because they're so illogical and nothing they do makes sense. And you know what? They're probably right, except for about the eliminating part. Eliminating is bad, but the illogical part is definitely true. Like, Nick, there are things that are just objectively true in this world, like the earth is not flat, and yet somehow there are still people who think the world is flat. And I mean, it's also the 21st century, and there's still people who believe that, like, women and minorities should not have rights. That is not okay. And humanity has, like, like 10,000 years of history of these kinds of things. And I'm not really sure what happened before history because, well, let's face it, nobody wrote it down. But somehow we've still managed to make it this far, and that's kind of impressive and terrifying. So yeah, our commercials don't necessarily make sense, but then again, nothing people do really makes that much sense when you think about it. I mean, it seems pretty rational at the time, but it seems rational from their point of view. It doesn't seem rational from everybody's point of view, or maybe even most people's points of view. But people still do what they do, and that's just how they do it. Yeah, I think that almost makes sense. Sure, close enough. So every time I'm being irrational, it's like, it's okay, I'm in good company with people like, Albert Einstein, but then I'm also in bad company with people that are just really bad people, but that's just because I'm human. And you know what? I kind of like that. It might be interesting to be a fox, but I mean, I've been a human all my life, and so now I'm kind of comfortable with being a human. I think it'd be weird to just change right now. So yes, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. And you know what? That's kind of cool. I like the silly rabbit. He always made me laugh. So Nick will continue to both be a part of this crazy world, and I hope to see you on Friday.